Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week. And we have a special guest with us, Kim Mayberry. She is a multi-passionate, creative, enthusiastic teacher, performer, and caring Reiki Master. She loves sharing the healing and empowering nature of dance and movement. Kim has been a professional belly dancer for over 20 years and is also a certified fitness and yoga instructor. She owned a dance, fitness, yoga studio in Banff called Dance for Joy for 5 years and has danced professionally at the Balkan Restaurant in Banff for 20 years. Her Reiki journey began in 2003 as she studied and practiced extensively since by taking each of the levels with different teachers and being a part of the International Reiki Retreat in Sedona. She received her Reiki Master certification in 2015. She is deeply committed to the well-being of others and incorporates her diverse knowledge into all her classes and sessions. Kim is currently focusing on teaching classes, sharing Reiki and energy coaching, working on online courses, and writing children's books.
Woo.
She lives in Banff with her husband and daughter. You can be in touch with Kim through her website, and we'll share all your social media stuff after. And I had the immense pleasure of meeting Kim at the Banff Wellness Retreat when I went last time, and her energy is amazing. So you're going to just love her. And so we'll get going, and we're going to talk about her journey into joy. So this is going to be exciting.
You guys, Kim and Barb, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. This is my first podcast, and I just feel really lucky to be able to be here and chat with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you. Thank you. It was lovely having you, Kim, in the class. I just love that Banff Wellness Retreat. So I've been a part of it since Amanda started. I think this is going into the 6th year.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's just wonderful to meet, kindred spirits, like-minded people, light workers like yourselves who are, just interested in learning more, because I think that's just it. We can always learn. Always. There's always so much, and each different teacher has so many different gifts, things to offer, and each student has so many gifts and things to offer too,
Yes.
So oh, I just got goosebumps.
Absolutely. And Mom's going to come with me next spring, so that's exciting. But I loved it. And I loved your energy, because I think I've always loved to dance, and I've never not anything more than just kind of dancing in the nightclub or dancing around the house. But it's so freeing. And I like that, because I follow you on Instagram, and I love that you're always doing these different dance things, and it just brings joy.
It does bring joy. People need joy.
Good. That's what I want. It's really all about joy. And I know as a dance teacher, I know how so often people are scared, like they might dance around at home, which is awesome. But like when they get to a class, or sometimes they'll just totally avoid classes altogether, maybe because they've had negative experiences in the past, or just dance can be really vulnerable. Like, this is our body. This is our soul too. Like, we're really vulnerable when we put ourselves out there in dance form. So
we are.
Always, right, Barb? Yeah.
You truly are.
You truly are. So
it's such a blissful way of making your day. Like for me, when I put my headphones on, and as soon as I put my headphones on and I start hearing the tunes, then the next thing I know, I want to exercise, and I dance when I exercise. Just because it makes me feel joyful. And and so it completes me on my day when I listen to my tunes. If I don't listen to my tunes, I feel like I've missed something in my day.
All right, so you're dancing
or whatever. Yeah. So
what kind of tunes are you listening to? I'm always curious.
Everything. Everything.
Me too. That's just it. Like, I will listen to a variety of music. I love all the music. And that's, I think, partly what has led me into like studying all sorts of different forms of dance and stuff too. But like, I'm like you. Yeah. And I mean, it can be as simple as just, putting on your music and just dancing. I think it's so good for folks.
I agree.
Yeah. And so in my classes, I really try and make people feel like comfortable so that they can just move, like there's no judgment. It's freedom. That's, I think.
Which is nice because we all have inhibitions when, like you said, we're very vulnerable when you're dancing,
right.
especially in front of other people, right? We think about all the insecurities about ourselves. And if we could just let that go for a minute, I think it's just so freeing. Like in your class, it was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to know what to do. And I'm like, who cares? Everybody else is going in maybe the same position as me. So let's just go have fun, right?
That's right.
Have some laughs, have some, just let ourselves go.
I'm so glad that you felt that way and that you were able to do it. Like that is really what I'm trying to facilitate when I teach my classes, is just that openness and permission just to move however your body moves. Everybody's body moves differently. We're all different, you know, but if you can reach that, just let go. Like it's like release, right? Dance is so therapeutic that way. I feel like I do all sorts of different kinds of movement, yoga and fitness and things like that, but dance is what I always come back to for its therapeutic quality.
Have you always been a dancer then? Like, how did you get into this? Like, what's your journey to get here?
Well, good question. Yes. I've always wanted to dance. Here's the thing. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's my story. So when I was about 4, my mom, I've got Scottish in my ancestry, and my mom wanted me to do Highland dancing, because you know her mom's Scottish, and so I did some Highland dancing, but in the concert, in the rehearsal, I just totally messed up. I remember I was going runway and everybody else was going the other way. And then I realized, I'm like, I'm doing it the wrong way. And I just started crying. And I remember looking out in the audience, and my Uncle Merle, bless him, bless him. But he's laughing his bald head off. And I was just kind of dying inside. And then I didn't want to do dance anymore. I had that, experience as a 4-year-old, although I always was like you say, Barb, like putting on our music, and I was always actually like kind of choreographing for my sisters and my cousins. Even though I'm sure they're like, oh, she's so bossy, but I didn't really. And because we lived on a farm too, it was literally like a half-hour drive into Red Deer or Innisfail or Sylvan Lake where I could take lessons. But partly I was afraid after that one experience, and partly because the distance, I didn't really get to take classes again. As a kid, it wasn't until I was in college, in university actually, and I'd moved out as an adult, that first of all, I somehow found the confidence. I think just because that desire was always there, but I wasn't, really able to take classes. But then as an adult, I just took all the classes,
I'm ready.
Yeah. And so it was a lot of dancing in my room as a kid and on our front lawn and stuff. And then as an adult, able to take classes and study more. But I think in some ways that kind of unstructured nature of my dancing is what kind of helps sometimes, I think, maybe when I'm teaching classes now for adults now who maybe also didn't grow up with that kind of stricter background of organized dance classes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, and that makes total sense, right? Because I too, like, have always loved to dance. And I remember even when we were teenagers, it was like you'd go out to the nightclub or whatever, and everybody's like, let's dance and let's do this. And I'm like, I'll be on the dance floor. I don't want to play darts. I don't want to play pool. That's silly. And like, I remember even my girlfriends would be like, let's play darts. I'd start playing darts and a good song be on, and they'd be like, where is she? It's her turn. Oh, she's on the dance floor.
Of course she is.
Yeah,
I loved it because music moves you so much. Like for myself and you, like all of us, right? Music moves us so much that
It does. It really does. Like when they were younger growing up too, I was always like dancing. I was in jazz ballet, I was whatever. And but anyways, with these guys, I taught them how to jive when they're really young. So that when they went out, they could show off a little bit, right? And and they did.
That's great. You know what? There is an element, I think, that sometimes dance does give us permission to show off a little bit, and it doesn't, it doesn't mean you've got like this crazy tremendous ego. It means that you're
No.
just like
How do you
enjoying
know?
your body, enjoying the music, and power to you, power
Yeah.
to you know.
Well, that was one reason I always loved Zumba, because you have that essence of, you've got the exercise, but it's more the dance. And yeah, just when I was in Tofield, there was a little gym there, and she would put on Zoom, like she had her workout classes, but then she'd have Zumba, and she'd have like cardio strip, and like they were
That was fun. That was
they
fun.
were classes, right? Because you got to just go and just really release yourself
Yeah.
and be in the
Yes.
moment. Right.
Yes, I think that's priceless. I think it's
Yeah.
priceless. And especially when you're with a group of other people and you're feeling each other's energy. And yeah, like dance is so great because you're getting such great exercise, but you kind of forget that you're getting exercise because you're just
Yeah, you do forget.
Yeah.
What made you do, what took you into belly dancing? Like, is it just
Oh.
a freedom of it, or how does that work?
Well, also when I was a kid, my aunt lived away in Germany, but she was like a belly dancer. She learned belly dance, and she was teaching belly dance.
Wow.
I guess late 70s, early 80s. So when I was a kid, she came back, and again on the front lawn of the house, she's like dressed my sister and myself and our cousins up in like little bits and pieces of her costumes. So I think first of all, sparkle, like like bling, bling, bling. And these beautiful chiffon veils and skirts, and then the music. I really was drawn to the music. Like my little Central Alberta farm girl ears were like, what is that? And I love it. But then she taught us, and then she went away again too, so again, I didn't really have an opportunity to study until I was an adult, but that's what piqued my interest in belly dance. And then as soon as I could take lessons, I just took all the lessons I could. Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Well, and that's neat that you do it at the restaurant. I will definitely be checking it out next time I'm in Banff. So
You know what? I just danced last night. It's been a really great gig. I'm very lucky. I mean, I started dancing there in 2003, like not shortly after, like I'd only been dancing for a couple of years really. So, but Joanna Carlos, the owner of the restaurant, she phoned me up. They were, Kim, she's this beautiful Greek lady. Kim, would you come dance for us? And I was scared. I was like, what? But then I was also like, yes. When there's sometimes when you just say yes, and you're like, I'll figure the rest out later. Because I'm just
In there.
20 years later, I'm still dancing, which I never really, I mean, I guess it's funny how we put limitations on ourselves sometimes. Like I remember, so I'm 46 and I remember thinking in my 30s, I was like, well, when I'm 40, better stop, man. Better be more prudent, and there was a time actually after during the pandemic, and when I left, I had to close my studio, and I was back, in a full-time gig, and I think I was depressed. I think, and for a time, I told myself I'd better stop, and I stopped dancing at the Balkan for a short time, and it's really sad. And then they're like, "Will you come back?" And I was like, "No." And then they're like, I think it was like after the third time when they asked, "Will you come back?" I'm like, "Yes." I don't know. Like my mood, I kind of got out of that funk.
Yeah.
And dancing helped me to get out of the funk and to come back to myself. Like I really wasn't myself there for a little bit, So we all go through those ups and downs. And I think,
And I think you have to push yourself out of that comfort zone, right? Because I find that for myself, right? I'll get stuck in this little comfort zone. And it's like, well, you want to further yourself, or you want to change things in your life. And you kind of got to do those scary things that you're like, ooh, how am I going to do that? And like you said, you just figure it out as you go.
You do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like look at you guys doing this podcast. Like, I think I remember listening to one, and you're like, well, we just decided one day we're going to do it. And you do it and you figure stuff out, right? You figure it out.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I know even in the beginning, like we talk about that, what are we going to talk about this week? What are we going to, right? And then you just find things and they just flow together. And, who are we going to get to be on the podcast? Then all of a sudden, the doors kind of opened up and it's like, this is amazing. And
It's true. It's true.
It's so true. I really do. I really have a strong belief that the universe, if we're listening, the universe just kind of guides our path, like we've got free will, we've got choice, but those synchronicities happen. And then if you're listening to them, you can follow that path and look where it leads. Like, yeah.
absolutely. And like, even for me, for the wellness retreat, it was really funny because my husband said, do you want to go to this? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, like I can only send you. And I'm like, that's okay. I mean, I'm good. There's like-minded people. And I went. And then when I came back, I think it was perfect, really, because I got to meet some incredible people and attend some wonderful classes. And then, that helped with creative collaborations with the podcast. And then when I came back, my excitement was so excited. Mom's like, I'm coming next year. I'm like, yes, girls trip.
She was so overwhelmed with meeting everybody and could hardly wait to tell me about everything that she'd experienced. And, that's why we have you here too, is your energy is really good. And what we want to do is show people that by doing what gives them bliss in life, like you're doing, puts such a smile on your face, and hopefully by them listening and what made you go on to what you're doing today, you followed it through in the end, and it's still filling you up with all your bliss and joy, right?
Even, you know what, almost even more so, like it's I am loving my life right now, and I'm getting back to just teaching more and more classes as things are opening up and I'm able to teach more and more classes. And it's interesting. Like I'm sad I don't have my studio anymore, but what's also really nice is just teaching for other places and showing up and just teaching and not having to worry about the business and the rent and so things you gotta, I mean, life gives us these twists and turns, and you just gotta make the best out of them. We're all just doing our best.
Yeah. Well, and that's right. Because you don't have that headache. So it's a different thing for you. But I saw you went to Greece too recently. So that must have been
wow,
amazing bucket list thing for you.
Exactly, Kim. It was a bucket list thing. I mean, like having danced at a Greek restaurant for 20 years, I was like, I better get my ass to Greece. And it was this beautiful combination because I went mostly for a belly dance festival called Cairo by Night Festival. And I've been watching their Instagram and their social media for a few years anyways. And they bring in some of the best teachers and some of my favorite dancers. Were there: Shahrazad, Luridiana, Badria, Aida, some of these wonderful dancers from Egypt and Europe, and beautiful, like the Raid Assad band, live musicians from Egypt. So the teachers were incredible. I found out new teachers, and like I'm always learning, always. Like it really drives me. So it was just this amazing lifetime bucket list trip, and plus Greece and the blue skies and the pool.
So did you dance as well when you were there?
Just, you know what, I just took the classes. They did have like competitions and shows,
right?
And I made the decision not to put any pressure on myself, because I know myself too. I know that if I'd gone there, going to perform, that really would have taken up a lot of my mental space. And I just wanted to go and enjoy and soak it up, and learn. Maybe if I were to go again in the future, I might perform. But that's another interesting thing, is that performance for me has never really been my main driver with dance. It's always been learning and teaching and just sharing. Like I don't particularly love being on stage. I mean, I guess I do, but I'm also like a Virgo, and I just worry myself sick sometimes.
Yeah,
about
Virgo here too. I get you.
Are you a Virgo as well? Yeah, I know. Like I don't know. We can be a little bit, and I just wanted to go and enjoy, and I really did. And I really,
Sometimes I think just being in that moment and being present there's so much to gain from that experience, right? Than putting all these expectations on ourselves of to just go be present, be joyful, take it all in.
that is exactly it. That's exactly how and I'm glad I did. I'm really glad. There was just no pressure. I just enjoyed. Yeah.
It looked beautiful. I saw your pictures. I was like, oh, I want to go there too.
You should go. Go. Like, oh my gosh, I would definitely go back. Greece is just beautiful. The hospitality was incredible, and just
nice
weather. Yeah. If you get the chance, do it. Isn't
you're
that
good, you're good inspiration, because you talked about how when you were younger and you did the Highland dancing and sort of had a click there sort of thing that you did like, but it didn't stop you from later on in life going back to your love. And so you followed this through now, and you're really into your bliss of life, of what you're doing and how it's enhanced you over time. So it's good for a new person that's into dance or spirituality as such to know that, you can walk into it, you might give it up for a little bit, but it's okay when you come back to it later and you really get into know that was your bliss and your love, even as a child. It's sort of like finding your inner child, maybe. I don't know.
You know what, Barb? Yeah, that's actually really quite, I think that's exactly it. I haven't really thought of it that way before, but I think that is like that. My inner child is a dancer, it's that freedom. It's that play. It's play. And I guess that's also too what I'm trying to share with folks in my classes is that it can be play. We don't have to be like, I don't want anyone to be hard on themselves. Right. I want people to feel lit up. I want people to feel confident. And I want people to feel like, I think maybe I shared this too, Kim, when in the class that you came to, but like one of my favorite dance teachers ever, Barbara Oliveira, she said, I am here. Like when we dance, we say, I am here. Oh, it's gonna make me cry a little bit. Like like it is vulnerable, but it's also taking up your space, sharing yourself, sharing your heart. Because when you move, there's like you can't hide much.
No, it's a passionate thing, right? You let every emotion come out when you're dancing, right? So I think that's great. Yeah. Do you practice some of like the joy and the thing when you're doing your Reiki? Is that what brought you into the Reiki as well, to share that energy? Or
definitely energy work. And gosh, now it's nice talking to you guys, because I'm realizing a lot of things. It was 2003 too when I first took my first Reiki class. That was a big pivotal year, 20 years ago. Yeah, it was actually, we took the class. It was like a community class for the town of Canmore. When we started, it was to try and help my sister who has Crohn's disease. And I think my mom and my sister and we all went just seeing if this might be help healing. And my sister and my mom didn't really continue on with it, but I did. I knew it was working when I went back and I gave my dad had a sore knee. So he's passed away since, but he's this gruff farmer, skeptic, not spiritual fellow, not woo-woo whatsoever. But anyways, I gave him some Reiki and he's like, oh, he was like, okay. But then the next time I came back to Red Deer for a visit, he's like, if you wanted to do that Reiki thing again, I guess you could.
Isn't it funny?
I was like, if Rex Mayberry like this is working, then,
that's a big check. Yeah.
A big check. And so, and I just continue on with it because it is that energy. It's just this lovely way to share energy with people. And I love it because you're only ever doing good, like it's only for people's highest good, only and ever. Yeah. So just sharing that intention, putting that out, and you're also getting in as you're giving, so just being a channel. It's that connection. It's that spiritual connection. I get it through dance. I get it through Reiki. For sure.
Which is lovely, because I think your passions to me is like what you're giving out, you're getting back too, right? Because you're giving out that joy in dancing, you're giving out the energy in Reiki, and you get that back and get that healing for yourself as well, right?
Oh,
Sure do.
it's totally true. My favorite thing ever is when people in the classes are having a good time, when we're laughing. Also, favorite thing ever is seeing people's posture change. You know, when they do stand up tall and kind of take up their space,
Yeah.
especially women, you know, like
Especially,
given women,
yes.
yeah, right? Because you know, we've been kind of programmed to be like, no,
Yeah,
space, be so small. But this gives people, everyone,
Yeah.
permission. And the kids that I teach too, I teach kids, you know, so it's nice
that's
to give
fun.
them some agency. And just, I feel like too, so much of the physical comes out in like emotional and physical, mental, all we all know, we know that how connected it is. But
Right.
so I feel like too, like when you start standing up, you maybe get a little bit more confidence in your brain too, you know, like it's not just physical, it's yeah.
Absolutely. And you breathe better, you walk
Ah,
different, yeah, I agree with you. I think it
Energy
opens
levels
up
are different.
so different.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So tell us about your book.
Oh my goodness. Well, so I've been at the library doing kids story times for a number of years, and I just figured it's about damn time that I write my own book. So I'm working on it. I've sent out a couple. I've got my first couple of rejections back. I think you got to stack them up. What did they say? I think Dr. Zeus got like 42 rejections or something like that before his books were published. So I know that they're in there. It's kind of like with the dancing. Like I just know that I'll be doing it, but so I'm putting in the work, putting in the time. Um, I love sharing stories with kids too. So yeah, I know it'll happen. It's just you got to put in the work.
Yeah. Well, I think that's amazing because I think it's so important for our youth to have these skills, right? The dancing, the reading, the writing, those kind of things. I just think it's so important. And the library was such a big place for me as a youth. So it's wonderful to hear that you're doing that
It
and
is.
sharing, because I know your book is going to be joyful and fun and colorful and
Yep.
wonderful like you.
Aw, thank you so much. Yeah, that's the whole. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
What's the name of your book? What's your
Oh, well, I've got several different ideas. That's the other thing. But I'm writing a book about called Gretchen the goat. We actually had a goat named Gretchen when I was a kid growing up. But anyway, she's this just kind of superhero goat who saves her friends, Oscar the owl, Sammy the space penguin, like a lot of animals. Like I love tying in animals into books. Yeah, I've got several ideas. Like I, there's more than one. There's a lot in there. So we'll
That's
see.
exciting.
That is exciting. Good for you. Congratulations. I hope it does. I'm sure it's going to do really well.
Thank you.
Starts getting back out there. Yeah, good for you. I mean, so were you a person like Kim writes a lot? She's always
Yeah, okay.
she's
Yeah.
wonderful that way. So were you always a writer as well? Like, do you always jot things down and journal, or is that?
Yeah, journaling's a big part. Yeah, and like I've done, I don't know, have you guys heard of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron? Yeah, yeah. So, and part of her big main tenets, one of her top three is writing your morning pages. So just like journaling every day, I do try. I find that when I do journal, things flow better. Like I can, you can recognize, right? Do you feel the
Yeah.
same?
Yeah, I do, because I do journal pretty much every morning. I mean, there's some days that are too hectic and you don't get it. And I just feel like a piece of me is missing that day. It's like,
Right.
oh, I didn't get that start that I need to the day to at least get
Yeah.
that journaling out.
Yeah, it's like a connection to yourself, right? It's like just giving yourself a little bit of time to connect, feel where you're at. And then I don't feel so as jumbled the rest of the day if I've done a little bit of writing.
Yeah.
And then you can vent out some stuff that you
Yeah.
You can. And then I like that you can think about things that have happened to you and you're like, oh, that happened. How can I reflect on that? What lesson was I supposed to learn from that? Why does that keep showing up in my life? Like it just brings things to the forefront.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Pour
Yeah.
out all your emotions into it and then hope to God nobody ever reads it.
Exactly. That's just it. I just told actually, it just came up in conversation last week. My husband and I were talking. I was like, if anything happened to me, don't read my journals. Like,
Throw them out. Throw them out.
it's, yeah. But yeah, other than that, like, I mean, it's interesting again. Like I've got like an English degree. English and history is my Bachelor of Arts from University of Calgary. But I was always too scared to do like the creative writing classes. I always did like, essay classes and nonfiction classes because I'm fascinated by biography and people's lives, like just kind of what you're doing right now, like talking to folks on your podcast and stuff. Like everyone's got such interesting lives. So, but it's interesting that the creative side, I felt a little bit scared to explore, like when I was in college, anyways. And so now with the kids' stories, just I think because I've done so many story times and read so many kids' books that I feel more comfortable with it. But yeah.
It's interesting how the universe pulls you in the different ways to do when you're supposed to, right? And
Right.
I agree. That's one thing I do love about the podcast is you get to hear these really interesting people's journeys, how they got to where they're at. And I find it really inspiring. And I find most people, if you sit and listen for a minute, their life story, there is some inspiration in there that you can gain in some way or another.
Yes. And that was yours, Mike. Show people don't give up. Right. And that's really huge. Don't give up on your dreams.
Don't give up on your dreams. It's never too late. Never too late. Yeah, and I really gotta just give you guys some kudos here for doing what you do, because I think that podcasting and interviewing people like this like helps us connect, shares ideas with folks, and like I was saying to you before, you're sharing the light, and this world needs as much light as it can get. So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I find with the podcast too, it gives us so many aha moments, like, whoa, didn't think of it that way. Wow, try that out. Yeah, so it's inspires us like daily when we do our podcast, like talking to yourself. Like we've had so much laughter and joy in this conversation just to start off with, plus the educational pursuits as we've followed through during this. So it's been wonderful. Thank you.
It's really, my pleasure. It's really cool too that you're doing it as mother-daughter, so it just gives you that other, like, other things to talk about and to create together. Like that's a real gift.
That.
It's a nice energy, and I find like it's helped definitely in getting people because they are intrigued by that balance of the mother-daughter, right? And that feminine energy, and because a lot of times mother-daughters have that
Oh,
it can be dicey.
right? So then it's I think it's really nice, right? You can give this energy that you can work with somebody and learn from them, and we learn from each other, which I love.
So too. Me too.
I can't wait, Barb, to meet you when you
I can't wait to meet you too, actually.
We're just gonna have a little dance party.
And a little giggler too.
Oh yeah. It's the best medicine. You gotta laugh. Oh my God.
I love laughter. It's just so important in your life. If you can laugh at yourself at least once a day, and I often do, with a comment like, as if you just did that.
I know, right?
Right?
I know. Yeah, but what a gift to be able to just laugh it off rather than, I think some folks are just so freaking hard on themselves.
Oh,
and
too much.
It doesn't help. It doesn't. We gotta be kinder to ourselves so that in turn we are kinder to other people.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I totally agree with that. That's well put, actually. Because yes, we do have to share that joy. I laugh so hard and start crying.
That's perfect.
I know. Well, they're so close. Joy, sadness, it's all
interwoven. Well, that's like even for your dance, right? You let so many emotions out, I think, when you're dancing and creating that space, and I think that's what I loved about when you taught at the retreat was it was fun. It was just like you don't take yourself so seriously. Like, look, it's fun. Oh, look, I screwed up. Okay,
Yeah.
let's keep going, right? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And I think that joy and the laughter just made it so terrific. So
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
very
glad.
much looking forward to next spring.
Me too.
Oh,
Me too.
I'm
Can't
so
wait.
glad. I think it's so true though. Like, and with the Reiki and with the dance, like letting, if our emotions get trapped, like they're in our tissues. And so if we can shake, like literally shake it off, like that's helping, like that physical, like again, coming back to that physical and the mental and the emotional all being connected. So laughing, shaking, dancing, moving, having people listen to you, talking, you gotta, like, yeah, we don't want things to get stuck.
No, we don't. No, we want. That is for true. And it's true too, like as I'm maturing in life and things like that, like now that I'm getting some of these little things that happens on your face, I mean, I don't mind because most of them are from laughter in my lifetime. So I mean, if you think about it that way, it's a natural course of way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen you have them going on the upswing than on the downside, right? So
Right on.
so if that's any kind of inspiration for anybody that's maturing in life,
No, I think, yeah.
swing it with it, you know, sort of go with the flow. So no, I believe that dancing and what you're doing too brings that joy and makes us have that smile that goes up instead
You're a smile. Just evidence of a life well lived, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that you're so inspiring, and I'm so glad that we were able to get you on our podcast, because
Thank you.
you have just such a wonderful, joyful, light energy about you. And like, as soon as I was in your class, I just felt this connection to you. Actually, I think it was funny because I think you said to me, "Do I know you?"
I know. I could have
And it was funny because like few of the teachers said that to me. I was like, oh, I must have good energy today. Our
I
souls
think,
are connecting. This is great.
and don't you think though, like there is, I don't know, here we go. Here's the woo. But I feel like a lot of the times when we do show up, we have known each other in some sort of past life, or there's a soul resonance, or there's like you know, just this understanding. And what an amazing gift. I'm really grateful for the Banff Wellness retreats, and for any time I get to do retreats or classes like that, you know, just that connection. It's yeah, it really is priceless.
Yeah, they're wonderful. So big shout out to them.
Exactly.
Not a paid endorsement, but you know, big shout out to them anyways. Because it's fabulous. So it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I think we could talk.
Yeah, I think we could.
And
Well, we got spring, so we'll see you again. So
exactly. Then we can do it all over again. You can come back on the podcast anytime. You're very welcome.
it's my pleasure. Thank you again. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. And
It
do
really,
you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
oh goodness. Sure. You know what? I'm mostly kind of on Instagram. I do like to share my little dance clips every once in a while. It kind of really started during COVID when we couldn't be together, and it was kind of like I just put a dance clip up every day just to give myself something to do too. But
Please.
yeah. So I'm at Joy Studio Kim Mayberry. I've got my website up there, just Kim Mayberry, and I'm on YouTube more and more. So maybe I'll put some more stuff up there too and just
Good.
share. So
Good.
yeah. But thank you again so much for this opportunity. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate it. So
And your website is what?
KimMayberry.com.
Well, maybe one time we'll do a live on our YouTube channel, and you can come on and show us some dance moves.
Hey, fun idea.
Yeah,
That's a
I
really
like
fun
that.
idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. We'll make
Okay.
time to do that. Well, thank you again for sharing space with us. It's been so wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it, and we will definitely see you in the spring.
Okay. So much love. Thank you. Thank you guys.
And we'll see everybody next week.
We will.